Welcome, friends. I'm Janine Pettit, and I'm here with my sidekick.
Lesa McDermott.
And this is the Girl Camper Podcast. And you're going to want to join in this because we've got Chef Corso on here. And this man is the expert on great trail camping and how to just elevate that simple meal that you want at the end of a nice day outdoors. So stay tuned for Chef Steve Corso of Outdoor Eats.
You know that saying, work smarter, not harder? Yeah, let's do that. Introducing the Quick Pin Coupler from CURT. Quick Pin's innovative design allows for fast, hassle-free trailer coupling with just one pin, making it easier to use than traditional couplers. That's right, that means no more fighting with jammed levers or problematic hinging components that drive you crazy. It's safe and couples securely with an included pin and clip. Just couple it, pin it, and you're done. Quick Pin is made from high-strength steel and has tested weight ratings to ensure your safety. It's available to fit all standard trailer ball diameters, as well as a variety of trailer tongue beam sizes, including A-frame trailers. So tow smarter, not harder, and get on the road today with a Quick Pin coupler from CURT.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We want to thank one of our show sponsors today, Lippert, for being one of our continuing podcast sponsors. We sure appreciate you. But we are so excited to have on today's show, Chef Steve Corso from Outdoor Eats. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Lesa and Janine. It's great to be here.
So let's start off. Tell us about your company, Outdoor Eats, and what is its mission?
Yeah, so I'm head chef and founder of Outdoor Eats, and the mission for Outdoor Eats is to get folks outside, have them eat well, and to share the outdoor food experience together. And it started with just a few quick recipes on my hikes and my backpacking trips, but it's a mission for having us all eat well outdoors, however we like to adventure. And it started with just a couple recipes. It grew into a website, outdooreats.com. We have over 300 trail tested recipes from recipe testers around the country and around the world. And then those recipes go into handy pocket-sized cookbooks that are 20 separate recipes per cookbook. We have 8 editions in the Trail Meal series, and also grew into a YouTube channel that can be helpful for you guys traveling around out there for different tips and tricks or gear reviews or just simple recipes. And through that, I created a television show called Outdoor Eats TV, which has a very similar mission to the company, to get folks outside, have them have great meals, and to share the outdoor food experience. But think of Outdoor Eats like a classic Saturday morning food show, like a Ina Garten or a Bobby Flay, combined with a travel show, combined with an adventure show. So we literally go on hikes, we go on road trips, and we are cooking when we're out there and teaching you how to do it.
Well, Lisa and I are so fascinated by your website and the cooking. And when I'm camping, I've got a kitchen, but when I watch your YouTube channel, I'm like, this is some real serious food there out on the trail. So, I mean, as a personal, actual trained chef and a hiker, you must have immediately found like what is available. How do I elevate the food that's available? Because you're cooking on trail, but it's not so difficult. You're not there with saucepans. So tell us what went into your just saying, how am I going to elevate camp and hiking trail food?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And what I found is the standard path for folks right now is either a dry, salty package meal, a bunch of nuts and jerky, or you're just cooking hot dogs and hamburgers over a grill and some s'mores. So there hasn't been a whole lot that's changed within the outdoor cooking space for literally decades. And a little bit more about me is I'm from the Pacific Northwest and grew up outside of Seattle in a town called Port Angeles, Washington. And I'm a classically trained chef. I trained in Napa Valley in Northern Italy and been in the food industry for over 25 years now. And after culinary school, I was fortunate enough to get a position as a research chef. And what that means is I got to test and develop new food products, from ice creams to salad dressings, alcoholic beverages. And it was a great way to still be involved in the food industry. And I had a 9 to 5 schedule. I wasn't slaving away on weekends on the line. So I've always loved food, but maybe didn't need to open up my own restaurant. I've had multiple positions in the Seattle area, from culinary consulting to team training and supply chain management, through all those things. And so while I was doing my sort of normal positions in kitchens and consulting, I would go on hikes. And in the Northwest, it's a beautiful place to go on some backpacking trips.
Yes.
So on the first trips into North Cascades National Park, Olympic National Park, I volunteered to do the meal plan for my friends. And what I noticed from those first few trips is that the standard options are there, and there's not a lot different from just the packaged meals. And I was getting very frustrated with the quality, the flavor, and also having multiple packaged meals for multiple day trip, whether you're road tripping or backpacking, gets very expensive. So I wanted to start to test some recipes to see if we could eat better outdoors. And so those first few recipes were pad thai, just some quick fajitas with some flake beans. And we were sitting by an alpine lake in the Enchantments, and it was like, wow, this is beautiful.
Mhm.
And it's fantastic that we actually have a meal that can complement our experience, rather than just something that we're sort of suffering through or eating down to the bottom of a bag, or having another cheeseburger with an untoasted bun. It'll do the job, but it doesn't get you all that excited. So that was the early precipice for outdoor eats, and started testing more recipes, tried to figure out how to put together a website. And actually, part of my story is I was working for Starbucks for a time as a consultant for them, and working on their Reserve brand, one of their higher end coffee experiences around the country and around the world. And they pulled us into the office one day, and they laid off 75% of the team. And it was a little bit of a surprise, but I literally was working on the Outdoor Eats website in my dark office at 10 o'clock p.m. That's the only time I had in the day. And it was a sad time. I'm not mad about it. They made a business decision, but it gave me time. I needed about 2 more weeks to be able to finish the website and put Outdoor Eats out there to the world
Mhm.
in March of 2019. And I haven't looked back. So it's a very interesting door opening situation of starting my own business, not quite understanding or knowing what it was, but I knew that these recipes were good. I knew it was a new path that could be helpful for folks.
Mhm.
And I'm happy that I'm here 6 years later, and we're talking about TV shows and 8 cookbooks and over 300
Yes.
recipes, and
Oh,
and people are taking them on all kinds of trips. So it's also a
yeah.
very fun thing, because I'm a chef and I like to cook for people, whether that's family, friends, a private dinner, but I can't be on your trips with you personally. But a recipe can go along with you and help complement your experience, have a better time. So in sort of a backdoor ways, I can be part of your journeys.
No, that is such a great story. And I think what really is awesome about your recipes is they're not just for backpackers. So, women at the campground sitting in their camper, these recipes are perfect for, them taking them to the campground. They're easy, they're sustainable, and they're delicious. I just bought your latest cookbook, the one for ultralight backpacking, because I'm going to be doing a 125-mile through hike this year with Girl Camper. And I mean, the recipes in it already, the ramen breakfast bomb had me sold right away. And then when I see the ingredients on it, oh yeah, this is ramen elevated. I cannot wait to try this.
Yeah.
And
Well,
she's the ramen queen.
Love ramen.
Lisa's the ramen queen. I am totally hooked on your beef stroganoff recipe.
thank you. That was a very
Made
good
with
early
beef
win.
jerky. I
Yeah.
love that you
Yeah.
came up to the state, but because Archer beef jerky is our favorite here, and we have a long history with Archer with Girl Camper. We met them when they were just starting out at a trade show, and I've been hooked on them ever since. So being able to tear that up and put it in that recipe, and not having to refrigerate meat, like and just to be able to have real food that you just cook. Yeah, I mean, I want everybody to go on and look up the beef stroganoff.
Well, I'm glad you like that recipe. That was a very good early win. And why I wanted to specifically match beef stroganoff is it is the number one selling package meal flavor over all the brands. So apparently we love eating beef stroganoff outside out of a bag, but the beef jerky hydrates in just a few minutes and helps flavor the dish. And to your point is you don't necessarily have to deal with raw meat for that specific dish. But I'm really glad you mentioned that they're not just for backpackers. So the recipe started for backpackers, as I saw that as the biggest need. There's a lot of great resources out there for Dutch oven cooking, campfire cooking, and that's a great way to cook outdoors. But I found that it was either campfire cooking over here or like dehydrating and packaged meals over here. And there wasn't really a path in the middle for some sort of hybrid recipe. So a little bit more about our recipes too. It makes us a little bit different is all the recipes are 10 ingredients or less, ready in 30 minutes or less, no pre-prep, no dehydrating. If you have a dietary restriction too that you're trying to be mindful of, we have a lot of options for you. So if you go to outdooreats.com, they're all organized by time of day, style of trip, and dietary restriction, because I want you to be able to still eat well depending on your choice of eating when you are going outside. And it's been fun to be able to create those. They can support a lot of different styles of trips. And as I've been traveling around the country, I noticed that they are good for RV camping. They're good for moto camping, for kayak camping, for just a no burner recipe on a day hike. Or if I'm driving across Kansas to the next workshop, is I sometimes just need lunch. I don't want to eat at Wendy's or I don't want another deli sandwich, and pop out the camp stove real quick at the rest stop and cook up a quick rice dish or a noodle dish. And so it's been very, very fun to be able to see how these recipes can support multiple folks. We've got just a lot that are one skillet, one pot. If you do have a refrigerator or a cooler, you can definitely switch out the ingredients for say steak for beef jerky or a chicken thigh or chicken breast for packaged chicken. But they can help support a lot. And when I started testing recipes too, it was easier to translate a recipe from a backpacker meal to a car camping meal than a car camping meal to a backpacker meal. It'd be just a completely different set of recipes and ingredients. And that's the other thing is that they're very easy to modify. So whether that is a dietary restriction or a flavor preference, maybe you don't like blue cheese or fennel or something like that, it's easy just to switch those out and easy to and easy to scale up and down. So if I'm just cooking for myself, we can scale a recipe for 4 portions down to 1, or vice versa, scaling up 2, 4, 6, 8 portions. Very, very easy to be able to scale up for groups as well. So if you're doing a campy hour or a trailgate for your trail crew, the recipes are very easy to scale in both directions.
Well, tell us about your ingredients, because I saw the little like zipper. It's like almost like a shaving kit that you carry ingredients in. And so I know Lesa wants to know this because this is a gear girl. And I love the way you upcycle your old things. I for years had spices in empty Tic Tac containers. So sometimes it'd have like a mint flavored oregano, but you use your old electrolyte tubes, which I have tons of. So tell us what kind of ingredients you always carry with you and how you organize and cart them around.
Yeah. So what I say is every meal plan starts in the pantry, and there's a lot of great options that you can consider. And sometimes it's a little overwhelming, especially with the recipes that we have. Especially with all the recipes we have over 300, and there's a lot of great flavors. Like, oh man, do I want pad thai this time? Or do I want jambalaya? And I sometimes get overwhelmed because I like food and I like getting excited about it. And putting together a meal plan to me is fun because it means we have some great flavors ahead. So what I say is every meal plan starts in the pantry, and that's usually with some carbohydrates, whether that's breads and tortillas, your noodles, whether those are pasta or rice noodles, rice or instant rice, quinoa, those kind of things. You've got mashed potatoes, instant mashed potatoes. So really starting at the core of recipes, which are usually carbohydrates and things that we're needing to be able to fuel us. Then you can choose which proteins you like, whether that's plant-based or meat, and then going into some fruits and vegetables, which again, for a road trip is a little bit easier, or packing some snap peas and some bell peppers. But fresh vegetables can last longer than you think. They can last away from refrigeration for a couple days on the trail and can give you some nice freshness, some nice crunch, some nice micronutrients as well. And then you kind of go into flavor. So if you want to add a teriyaki sauce, some vinegars, oils, and spice mixes, I also share for folks is that spice mixes and spices are the highest flavor, lowest weight, lowest volume ingredient you can take along.
Mhm.
So if you're concerned about the volume and weight in your backpack, or if you're just concerned about having a bunch of bottles or a bunch of containers in your rig, is spices can be your best friend for that. And also super versatile to be able to change that rice or pasta and chicken and vegetables into Indian, into Italian, into Mexican. So flavor changes with kind of some similar ingredients. But what you mentioned as far as packing goes is, yeah, there's some great ways to be able to pack along. You don't necessarily have to buy all these special bottles. I tend to use old lotion tins or bottles that I have around the house, or using an old soda bottle that has a thread on top for some oils or some soy sauce if you don't want to take the whole bottle. But then this little tote, which is available at outdooreats.com, this has some of my favorite ingredients, which these are packets. So this
Gosh,
is what I call
I save those.
yeah. So this is what I call my weasel bag, because you have hot sauce packets, you have mayonnaise, you have ketchup, honey. This is a vinegar packet. Vinegar comes in a packet. That's a fun one that I found. Mustards, all kinds of different flavors and jams and things that are just available. And I call these weasel ingredients because you don't necessarily buy them, and you also don't necessarily steal them. They are available for us all over. And so as I
True.
travel around the country oh, look, there's some Cholula and some Tapatio at the taco shop. Great. I'm going to pack, I'm going to, take 2 or 3. Or I went to Whole Foods and there's some ketchup and mustard packets, or soy sauce packets. I know all of you guys out there, and you two included, is you have a drawer of soy sauce and Asian packets in your house right now, and you just don't know what to do with it. Put them in a little ditty bag. Get this at outdooreats.com. Put them in there and throw them in your rig or throw them in your backpack. And they're an awesome way to add flavor to your dishes, and really, really helpful if you're just cooking for 1 or 2 people. So using up those packets and just a couple squirts here and there. And it's been a great thing for me, and also like really fun as I'm traveling around the country to find the ones that I'm looking for. And what I found are sort of the white whales are stone ground mustard or deli mustard and Dijon mustard. And also these vinegar packets. They're not everywhere. So it turns
I've
into a little
never
scavenger hunt.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it turns into a little scavenger hunt as you're traveling around of like, oh, I need a couple mayo packets for lunch today. Hope I can find it. And then sometimes it's not there. But what I also say for weasel ingredients is that you can be a weasel, but don't be a jerk. So don't go to the coffee shop in the small town and take all of their mayonnaise. Take a couple, leave some for the next person. And also what I share is that always pack out the packets. So don't leave those on the ground. Put them in your pack out bag, because if you are using multiple packets for your meal, we don't want to see them on the trailhead or at the rest stop. But they also, speaking of pack, is another one here, and this is for my utensils. So this is a great tip as you're traveling around to stay organized. So this can be for your spoons, your lighters, that kind of thing. Also have a really nice foldable campy chef knife that you can take around as well. That's also at outdooreats.com. But I love that it has a little bit more of a surface area to be able to cut through a summer sausage or through a whole onion, rather than just kind of a stubby pocket knife. But if you're doing rig camping and car camping, is just take this idea and get a tote from Storables or Walmart or whatever, and put your tongs and your spoons and all that stuff in there. Your lighter as well. Just feels like the lighter always gets strewn about somewhere, and you just never know where it is when you need to light the fire or light the burner. So staying organized with your equipment and your utensils is also a super, super helpful tip.
I have that knife. I have that knife, and it scares my husband, and I have it because of you.
Great.
I watched
and then
I watched your video on your knife recommendations, and that was the one I settled on. I don't think you had your knife yet in your store at that time, or else I would have got that one. And those are awesome knives. They are really great. But yeah, he is terrified of it. So
nice. Well, and one ingredient I want to showcase to you guys that I just have handy because I'm planning on a trip in another couple of days is coconut milk powder. This is one that goes on a lot of trips for me. And this is just special order from Amazon or the internet. Or it is available at some Asian grocery stores or some health food stores. It's not everywhere, so you can't quite bank on it. but
Mhm.
it is great to go into morning oatmeal for a tropical experience, or can also translate into Indian and Thai dishes. So if you like tom yum, tom kha, different pad Thai dishes, or just kind of an Indian curry, it can be a great addition for great flavor, but also, very, very low weight.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
And I love the weasel ingredients. I do think of you every time we have a convenience store up by our local ski resort that has a ton of different stuff that you don't expect to see. And every time I go in there, it's hard to resist not like taking one of everything, but I don't need them right now. So, and I know
Right.
we're resupply, but yeah.
Well,
And I
you
do,
paid
Yeah.
people back by being a regular customer, so you don't have to feel bad when you went in there and took a few extra things.
Well, that's the thing is there are baskets of them
Yeah.
Mhm.
almost everywhere. So it's not like we're doing something wrong, but again, just to be mindful of the next person.
Mhm.
I'll have to look for the vinegar now next time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one was a
that caught
surprising one.
yeah, I've never seen the vinegar. So, Steve, tell us this. Do you have any, favorite cooking gear? I mean, I watched your thing on the jet boil the other day, which
Mhm.
I found fascinating, but tell us about what your favorite cooking gear is, or something that maybe everybody has and you don't find that great, or
Sure. So I cook on a lot of different stoves depending on the trip. And what I share with folks is that your equipment will be guided by how many people that you're cooking for and what you are cooking. So if you are cooking for 2 people, then your pot's probably going to be about a liter, maybe a little bit larger, and you're going to need kind of a smaller burner. If you're cooking for a group at a car camping setting at a state park, then you're probably going to have some sort of 2 burner suitcase style stove like a Coleman or a Camp Chef or those type of brands. And if you're choosing to eat a noodle dish or a soup or a rice dish, then cooking in a jet boiler, one of those pots is a good choice. But if you're cooking pancakes or skillet potatoes for breakfast, you're probably going to need a big cast iron skillet or a griddle to be able to do that. So asking the question early on in your trip planning is how many people are going, and then what are we cooking will help guide what equipment that you will choose. Because maybe you don't need to take the whole kitchen or the whole garage on every single trip. A burner that I specifically like and I use a lot is the MSR Wig burner. Again, it very much depends on what you're doing and what you're cooking. But this is very nice because it's away from the ground and it has these cool little tripod situations and it's stable. Uses a isobutane canister, so pretty standard camp gas. But it has a nice even cooking, a nice even burner, no hot spots. And then this specifically has a pot that sits right in here for a little bit of pot and pan integration. So that's one piece of equipment that I use very consistently. It's solid. I've had this for a number of years, and I really like it. But there's a lot of great options. But yeah, again, really depends on what trip I'm going on and if I'm doing a solo trip or a trip for a larger group of people. Um, the handy pocket knife is another thing that I love. Also taking a flexible cutting board, whether that's a larger one for car camping or a smaller one for backpacking is very helpful to be able to slice up your trail charcuterie or your veggies when you're out there. So that's another thing. So like that kind of the knife and the cutting board. I'm a chef, so like that's goes on every single trip. One other
Yeah.
tip in my little utensil bag here, I actually got a couple cool things I can show you. So I can't use a Bic lighter anymore to light my burner or any burner, any fire. I've had too many times where my hand is cold, it's wet, and I just want to light my stove so I can eat. So I've completely switched to refillable butane lighters. These are also a cigar lighter, but
yeah.
they're refillable. They're fantastic. They're great in the wind and slightly more eco-friendly too. So that's a really nice tip.
Lisa is
Um,
making a mental note of that right now. I know what I know. She's just like, "Gotta get it."
Yep, that's a good one. And
Very
then
cool.
very, very small thing, but very helpful is a small or a larger spatula to be able to stir your dishes, but then also helpful for cleanup. So that can be a good one. And then I was introduced to a cool brand last year. They were a light partner with Outdoor Eats called Opinel, and they are a knife company out of France. And they have these really cool just pocket knives. Um, but this is a really cool little trail kit. that has a foldable pocket knife. And then what's really cool also, if I can do it on camera, talk amongst yourselves,
I actually have their
is
knife. I
oh,
have one
cool.
of their trail knives. Yeah, they
So
are
the,
not.
the so the trail knife is really nice, really good quality and very
And
economical. But
sharp.
then
I have that same knife. It's so sharp.
yeah, yep, and it stays sharp, which is good. But then this specific one is a picnic kit, so it has a fork and a spoon, and this just shoves right in here and locks in. So you now have a utensil.
Well, that's handy.
So
Very cool.
so pretty handy, and it's nice having that with the knife and the utensils, and then all wraps up in this little cloth. So those are some fun ones that I've come across through the last few years. But get yourself a good titanium metal spork. I'm a big fan of eating off of metal versus than plastic, and organize it as you need for your trip.
Well, and I think a lot of these are on your website too. I think you have a gear recommendation and links to buying a lot of these, which is really cool for people.
Yeah, we do have some branded outdoor eats items, but then just things that are helpful for me for those spice tins, or liquid bottles, or also other ingredients that are helpful and tasty.
Nice. So we're going to take another quick break here for our second show sponsor for today, which is Progressive Insurance. We'll be right back.
Exploring without travel trailer insurance could have your adventures going in the wrong direction. Keep yours moving forward with Progressive. Get a quote today from a leader in RV insurance.
Welcome back, everyone. And thank you, Progressive Insurance, for being on the team at Girl Camper. We really love having you here. So, Steve, what is your favorite recipe? I know that's like asking what a favorite child is, but like, what's your go-to meal?
That's a good question. I usually follow my gut as far as flavor. So whether that's Italian, Thai, Mexican, that kind of thing. I really like eating noodles outside for some reason, like
Sure.
you eating ramen. But one of my favorites is pad Thai, and with maybe a little coconut milk powder, peanut butter, or almond butter powder. It just hits when you're outside, and a nice fresh squeeze of lime. You can make some campy chopsticks too, with some fallen twigs to make it a little extra fun. So that's one of my favorites, and it satisfies every time and cooks up in like 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm usually pretty happy with that one. But we've got other great options that I love, from jambalaya to Creole shepherd's pie, the stroganoff you were talking about. Mango fried rice is another really great option that can be vegetarian and vegan, or you could add some chicken and beef as well. So those are some of my go-tos.
Now, before we let you go, you made a reference to a TV show. Tell us what that's all about and where we can find you. And stay tuned to get the scoop on that,
Yeah,
because that sounds
Outdoor
like my
Eats.
kind of show.
Yeah, so Outdoor Eats TV is airing nationally right now. It is on FanDuel Sports as well as Outside TV, and the episodes have landed on the YouTube channel as well, Chef Corso. You can check them out there. But as I was saying earlier, it's a combination of a educational food show combined with a travel show, combined with an adventure show, and it's very fun storytelling as we're traveling around. But we are rolling into production for season 3. We have 6 episodes completed, and we've adventured in Corpus Christi, Texas, to St. Petersburg, Florida, San Francisco, California, where I did a couch to campsite concept and trip idea where we started in the Presidio and with our backpacks and some charcuterie from the market and a big old baguette, and then hiked across the Golden Gate Bridge and then camped in the Golden Gate Rec area over there. The most recent episode is actually one of the most exciting. Each episode is its own adventure, but we went to Switzerland and Liechtenstein, and we hiked in the Alps, and I got to cook with some great new chefs and great new friends and eat fondue in an alpine valley that was absolutely beautiful, and just an amazing combination of outdoor eats in a very, very fun way. I can't wait to share that episode sometime this summer, this fall. So you can check it out now, and I hope you enjoy it. If you like those travel shows and adventure shows and food shows, then I think you're going to like Outdoor Eats, because we're kind of putting together a lot of different styles of show, but then actually going on a backpacking trip or actually going on a road trip.
I love that
And
combination. And I can't
yeah,
wait for
yeah.
the Switzerland show, because I told Lesa about this, because Lesa and I usually go on a grand adventure every year. There's a 100-kilometer ring around the top of a mountain there in Switzerland, and it takes about 10 days to hike it. And
Mhm.
you stop at little hostels every single night, and there's food, and you stay in little chalets. And I'm like, I got to do that one.
Yeah, for anybody out there who's never done a hut-to-hut hike or a refugio hike, it is an amazing way to adventure. We went to one in Liechtenstein on the Austrian border where I had one of the best summit beers of my life, but the chef was baking fresh baked bread, and like what more could you want? I also went
Yeah.
on a trip in Spain this year into the Picos de Europa National Park, just like north middle Spain, and we were greeted with wonderful stew and wine and
Mm.
Spanish tapas, and like this is a good way to travel. So
Yeah, and you
I
burned all those calories because you walked it all day long. Well, tell everyone where they can find you. Where do they go to learn more about outdoor eats?
Yeah, so all the recipes and articles and tips and tricks and cookbooks are at outdooreats.com. Social media from Facebook to Instagram and TikTok, Outdoor Eats 365. And then the YouTube channel is Chef Corso. And I also have a Substack a site where I'm doing some other food writing. So if you want to check that out, that's also Chef Corso.
Right. Chef Corso, thank you so much for being on
Correct.
today. I look forward to seeing you on the road, possibly at one of the overlanding expos. And it's just been a pleasure. And season 4,
Real
I think you
pleasure.
should come to the Black Hills.
I would love that. I'd love to adventure up there.
Awesome.
Yes, and I could take you to the Delaware Water Gap if you're coming out here to New Jersey. Yeah,
Well, that'd be
so
great. And what I found too is that there is pretty places to explore everywhere. It's not just the mountains out west, but there's a lot of great places to explore. But great to chat with you guys today.
wonderful. I look forward. I'm gonna really get that beef stroganoff Janine style down this summer. I'm gonna resurrect that recipe. So thank you so much for being with us. We wish you happy trails. And I know that Lesa is gonna go right into Amazon when she hangs up.
Nice.
She will. She's got ideas. All right. Thank you, Chef. We're so happy you came up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks everyone for tuning into our podcast today. We are so thankful to have had Chef Steve Corso on from Outdoor Eats. He had so much fun information. And I don't know about you, Janine, but I cannot wait to go make elevated ramen recipes because I love ramen as it is. So I can't wait to add some more stuff
And
to
I
it. What
just
about
think
you?
I think there's a beef jerky meal in my future in the next 3 or 4 days because my brain heard it now. I can't unhear it, and I'm gonna test that one out. So we're gonna have fun taking a look at all the stuff he's created. So head over and find out what Steve's got cooking. In the meantime, you know where to find us. Like, subscribe, share, do anything you can to help us along here. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We've got girlcamper.com. And of course, we've got the podcast and our award-winning magazine. So indulge in all things Girl Camper, and we will see you next week.
Check out all of the events our Girl Camper guides have planned. And be watching for a survey for maybe some really cool trips, some big bucket list trips for 2026 that may be coming out soon because we need your input on where in the world do you want to go in 2026. So
I think
until
I
next
want to
week-
go to Switzerland.
Yeah, just Switzerland, right?
That
So
was a
until
good
next
one.
week, I'm Lesa McDermott.
I'm Janine Pettit, Camper in Chief. Happy trails.
Catch you by the campfire.